So we're talking about, as this recording is happening, I should say, at the time of our beginning of a new year, 2026. And so we're talking about how we will grow spiritually in this new year. It's a time when it's accepted that we take a sort of reflect on our lives and think about how we want to reset our lives. And so, in our conversations about nurturing spirituality, we want to talk about how we intend to grow, what our intention is in terms of growing spiritually in 2026. Hi, everyone, and welcome to New Answers Podcast, where we discuss solutions to life challenges based on our personal experience. I'm Gwendolyn Flynn, and we'll continue our nurturing spirituality conversation, looking at that as a solution to life challenges with Tiffany Lee. Hi, Tiffany.
Hello, Gwen. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year to you. What is it that you're looking forward to in terms of growing spiritually? And then I can share what comes to me.
Okay. So, um, as I mentioned to you, I had an understanding, like a download this morning, and it's been part of our studies in science of mind. I just finished reading Emma Curtis Hopkins, who
Mm,
does claim that everything, anything that's evil, negative, whatever, is all made up, and illnesses are
yeah.
made. So that's a hard concept to really embody and embrace. Um, but religious science was really created by mostly women, by the way, who we've discussed is the spiritual authority when they have had an illness or something and based on an illness, and they've decided, I'm going to heal myself. It will study the words of Christ and other teachings similar to it. So that's how New Thought started. So my download this morning was I first thought about my son who has a friend that has DID, which was what we used to call multiple personalities, but that's what it is. And with those personalities, each personality has their own illness. They have their own personality, they have their own way of being, and they have their own illnesses. So it
I
got
had
me,
never heard that before. Go
yeah,
ahead.
it's documented. You can like look that up. Like one personality might need glasses, the other one doesn't. One might be allergic to peanuts, the other one's not. You know what I mean? It's wild. It's wild. But
It
it's
really is.
also, right? It's also proof that our mind and body, the connection there and how strong that is to who we are, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So with that in that process, and this is my 4 o'clock in the morning thoughts coming through. I was like, so really everyone's walking around in a personality that's created by the ego because we know that we're all one with
Right.
we're all one, we're all a spark of the divine. There's no separation. There can't be a separation. But we come into these bodies, into this world, and multiple things create our personalities, our parents, our schooling, or whatever. But the reality, the real reality is we can change that anytime. We could be who we want to be. So
Hmm.
my and my 2026 goal is to be the highest version of myself, which I'm going to choose. I'm going to be more conscious about choosing who I am and who I want to be and how I want to show up in this world. Because
Hmm.
we have a lot of things like we can talk about our traumas, we could talk about our parents and how that influences our personalities, but that's still all a choice of how that affects us and how we show up.
That's true.
So my spiritual journey this year is just to be more conscious about who I am, how I show up, and how I consciously create my life to be more joyful, more peace, more love, more loving, like all the good, all the good. Emma has a saying that her famous saying is my good is my God. And I didn't know
Mm.
what that meant. And I had to really kind of like through the whole class, I was like, I don't really get it. And there comes my doggy. He has to be in the show all the time.
Oh, there's Arrow. Hi, Arrow.
Harold's
And
like,
while
no one
you're
wants to look at your butt.
so
He
you
has to
said
lay behind me for some reason.
you made a reference to Emma. So you're talking about Emma Curtis Hopkins, right?
Yes,
One of
yes,
the thought leaders in the science of mind movement. Yes.
yes, yeah. My God is my good. And what she means by that is my good is my health, my wealth, my love, my all the good things. That's God showing up in you. That's all God. God is all good. So, oh, the other saying she says is, I deserve my good, or something like that. But
Mm,
we're going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. I deserve my good. My good is my God, and I deserve all my good, which
mm.
means I'm going to cut out all the icky stuff as much as I can, all the shadows,
Yes.
and just remember that God is good. And that's the truth with capital T is that we're all whole, perfect, and complete. And
Yeah.
so have things come up and we do experience, it's not to say that an illness, that we're not feeling pain or we're not feeling whatever it is we're going through that is
Mhm.
actually happening in us. But the truth, the capital T of that is we actually create it. And we
Yeah.
create poverty and we create riches. And so why not just create the world that we want? Seems so simple, but
It
it's not so
does.
no that
No,
but
it's
yeah,
it's easy to say,
exactly.
but it's not easy to do for sure.
Right.
But I'm gonna I want to explore some of what you had just shared with us in a minute. I want to share with you though what my intention is for this year. I usually don't do what do you call them? Uh, what do they call it at the first of the year when you're
Resolutions.
resolutions? Yeah, but I guess they ended up being kind of a resolution. And but what I thought about in terms of my spiritual growth um, was basically to be more self-aware, more self-aware, and it's about making more time for meditation. I mean, I have like a routine that I do in the morning, and it involves affirmations basically. And these are like written words that I just recite every day as a kind of a reminder of my connection with the God consciousness. But I think I need to do a lot more like silent time, meditation, and being able to do the downloads like that you do to really tap into the God consciousness or the Christ consciousness. And I need that probably throughout the day, but certainly a routine at the end of the day. In the same way I have a routine at the beginning of the day, I think I should have it at the end of the day. But being more self-aware is like paying for me is paying more. It's having that meditation and that direct connection, but also about paying more attention to my intuition. Just really zoning in on what's coming at me, but how am I responding to that? It's coming at me, and based on like what am I feeling? What am I, what's the first thing that occurs to me whenever this stimulus, whatever it is, it come at me, and to be, as I say, more self-aware about that. The other thing I want to do is to read more from those who are leaders in this spiritual journey, that I'm on. The Emma Curtis Hopkins, for instance, reading more about her. I have been reading a lot of, not now that his name escapes me. Um, it'll come back to me in a minute. I'll come back to that. Uh, but anyway, I do want to do more of that because I think it's going to help me, deal with this patience thing that I'm working on, being more patient, and surrendering more because it will help to unburden me. Maybe get rid of some of these furrowed brows without having to do what do you call Botox shot. But
Right.
I will be unburdened because then I'll be more connected to the Christ consciousness, God consciousness, who will guide me, and I shouldn't worry about anything. It should be easy, like we were saying.
Ease.
And
Yeah.
because of our humanness and our ego kind of gets in the way, it becomes hard. It becomes hard. But if I do what I say I'm going to do, it should lighten that burden. And and it's lightening that burden about anything that I personally am going through, but also I can think whatever it is I am going through, it's an opportunity for me to grow
Hmm.
in if it's a challenge. Um, and I think in that growth, I will be helping to contribute to this transformation into the new earth somehow. I will take care of the things that are uh, challenging to me personally, but I think ultimately it kind of ripples out into the world and how you're navigating the world, right? And contribute to this new earth that I think is, we're in the midst of transforming too.
Right.
So that's what I see. But yeah, that's my intention for 2026. And like we were saying, it's so easy to say these things, but to actually do it. And that's why I have to have a routine, like for morning, for evening, and even throughout the day to help remind me. And I think other people may have that same need as well, to be able to connect with that, so that you don't get the ego in the way, which causes the friction that you probably have in your life. Yeah, so I've said a lot, but let me go back to what you had said about the mind body connection, and how even individuals with multiple personalities, have different, with those personalities comes maybe different physical challenges that they have.
Hmm.
I never heard that before, and it's really interesting to me, um, to think about in this one body, right? Because it's the body is being used by the spirit, right, to do God's work. And now we've got in this one body, we've got multiple personalities that may have different afflictions,
Hmm.
and it's all about the connection to the mind, right?
Lisa.
That's what.
Yeah. So we already have, like, just as a normal person, we already have different personalities for us. We show up differently. We show up different with our family. We show up different at work. Um, I would say I have my realtor side, my
Mhm.
poetic side, my artistic singer, dancer side, and my spiritual side. And
Ah,
my goal also is though to merge all of that a little bit more. And that to me is more authentic. So before today, that was what I was saying, what I was telling myself is be more authentic. Don't show up different, everyone. Be the same, be all of you everywhere you go. If that's
okay.
possible, I don't know. But DID is an extreme of the different parts of us, creating absolute in different personalities, and this normally comes from a trauma. Like,
I was going to say, yeah.
yeah.
That's what I'd
So,
heard.
right. I actually had an encounter with one of my jobs, an encounter with a young girl that came into the office, and she was definitely, I met two of her personalities right then and there.
You
So
did?
I did, and it was interesting, but that's a whole other show. But
Okay.
it was really interesting,
That's
and
fascinating to me.
it's very different. I mean, they're extreme. They're like two different people walking into the door, and
Mm.
um, but yeah, our mind, yeah, it's mind blowing. Um, if you read Emma Curtis Hopkins, she talks about um, your eyesight. Since we are God, we are divine inside. Divine is perfect. He's whole, perfect, and complete. Why would he need glasses? Divine doesn't need glasses. Like all of I need
Mhm.
glasses because somewhere in my um, subconscious, I was told I would need glasses, and I decided I grasped onto that. Or there's something else behind my not being able to see well. But your vision really is only 10% your eyes. The rest is your mind, by the way. Anyway, so have you
Mm.
ever noticed, like, especially with night driving, if you know where you're going, you can see everything. But if you turn down the street and it's brand new, you all of a sudden can't see the signs.
I have noticed that. That
Yeah.
happens to me a lot. Yes.
It happened to me before I ever had glasses. I'm so used to going down the same road and,
Yeah.
see it. And then I remember one day going someplace new and I was like, why can't I read the street signs?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and I think life is like that because we know things, we see things to a certain extent, like things we've talked about. And I guess I'm really big on the health issue, but when we talk about um, clinical trials, and how we know that they use a placebo for a clinical
Mm.
trial
Hmm.
to decide if the medicine works. And if we thought about it, like when I thought about it, I was like, wait, why do we use a placebo? Because we know, the doctors know, the scientists know that when they tell the person this pill is going to heal you, it's going to get in their consciousness, they're going to take the pill and the body's like, oh, I'm being healed. So
Yeah.
they're giving them a sugar pill. It's nothing in that pill. It's all
Hmm.
mind. The mind is healing itself on its own because it's being triggered to heal, even though our body already does it anyway. But we could
Hmm.
just talk to ourselves and be like, it's time to heal. There's something going on, or, heal yourself. And that's what the the creators of religious science and science mind, and that's how it all started. Just them deciding I'm going to heal myself 100 years ago when medicine was barely around. Like the medicine and doctors, it was not good. The practice of medicine was a scary practice at the time. So the practice of medicine, well, this is so off topic, but since we're talking about health, I believe you can Google this. In the United States, the third highest cause of death is medical mistakes. So
Medical mistakes,
yeah,
third high. That's pretty high.
that is high. So
Mhm.
we just have to remember it's still called the practice of medicine.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but being that we have God in us, we are divine. Um, God doesn't make itself sick.
Yeah.
So we are God. God doesn't make itself sick. It's our ego. It's that other persona that makes
Yeah.
itself sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, and you can take that across the board. Like Emma says, there's no such thing as wealth or poverty. It's a mindset. And she's very extreme. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's just an
Hmm.
experience that we're experiencing and we don't have to. So it's part of my
Hmm.
goal too, is to decide to not experience lack, basically.
Hmm.
And that would be self-awareness, like you were saying, like what am I thinking at the
Yeah.
moment? What am I thinking? Am I thinking lack-wise?
Hmm.
I can go anywhere, like even in Haiti with the people I'm working with in Haiti, um, the village we're building, they're doing quite well. And it's not like we poured a bunch of money into them. We're just said,
Yeah.
no, let's look at the resources. Let's look at the resources we have. And that's the opposite of being in lack and poverty when it's like, oh no, we do have land. We don't
Yeah.
need money to plant things. We raise money so they can hire people to build certain things, but
Yeah.
it's so little compared to what we do here in the United States. Like we sent over $5,000 for them to build a canal that saved lives during that last storm. $5,000
Yeah.
isn't anything in the United States for something like
That's for sure. Yeah.
that. So that's again though proof that it's
Mm.
all a concept. You know,
Yeah.
our like there's the huge matrix and there's the mini matrix within, you know, within the world.
So say, yeah. So say that again. There's a a matrix, okay, a big matrix, and then there's like that, so that's the macro, right? And
Yeah,
then the micro matrix, right? So
right.
explain a little bit more what that means, how you see that.
Okay. Well, that just came to me. So I'm
Oh,
going to talk it out, as I say. I'm saying like there's the matrix that's just here on Earth, what we live in, um, before we've awakened to the fact that we are creating the world we're in.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then I would say the mini matrix would be each country, or as we like to say, worldview. Uh,
Yeah,
because in America, our huge matrix, we're a consumer country, and
for sure.
we need a lot of money to sustain us here in America. Whereas, like in Haiti, where they're the concept is poverty, at least here, but the
Mm-hmm.
people don't see it as poverty the way we see it as poverty.
Yeah,
And they live in a different matrix. So if they have land, they're wealthy,
yeah.
uh, because you can get all you need from just growing your own food. And it's just different. Their matrix, the way they build up their life is different. And they
Mm-hmm.
like Japan or China right now, they're so into their AI development is beyond what we have. I saw a video. I don't remember if it was China or I think it is China. They're they are at that point of in some of their cities where, we watch a movie when you're walking down the street and they have screens and it's recognizing everyone. They go in the store, they pay, and they
Yeah,
have a while they have money that they're paying by their eyes or their handprint or something like that. They're
yeah.
already there. So that's their matrix that they're in right now.
Ah, I see. I tell you, and as you were talking, I'm thinking, I'm looking at my situation and how my perception of things is changing. Again, me becoming trying to be more self-aware, and 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 in a sort of micro version of that, um, I'm becoming more aware of the food intake that I have, and how I guess at one stage in my life, and maybe this is true of other people too, I am taking in food not by what I need or my body wants, but because it's there. And it's, certain time of day, a day part. It's breakfast time, it's lunchtime, it's dinner time. And whether I want it, I need it or not, I'm eating.
Right.
What is that? So I become more self-aware, like, okay, why are you having this meal? Are you hungry? Is your body calling for this food? And it turns out it is not. You know, you
Right.
don't need it. You don't want it. And I saw a television commercial recently, and it's, holiday themed. I don't even know what the product was, but it resonated with me. It was Kevin Hart, the comedian, in a miniature elf kind of form, his face and then his body.
Oh yeah.
And someone opens up a refrigerator door, and he's laying there in his elf kind of body. And he says to the person that opened up the door, he's looking out into the camera, "You just ate." Like, it's like, why are you looking in this refrigerator? You just ate. And I resonated with that because it was like, again, why are you looking in the refrigerator for more food and you just got up from the table?
Right.
So, and it's for me, it's the same thing about, is it lunchtime? And so I feel like I need to eat, but do I really need to? Is my body really calling for that? So it's changing your perception about food and when your body needs that food in the same way, like you said, the perception of folks in Haiti around, you know, the assets that they have, It's different from the perception that we in the United States have about money and the assets that we have. We just,
Right.
I don't know, we're just, yeah. So for me, it's about changing my perception about what's available and what assets I have and what I need. What do I really need? I don't really need all this food, you know?
So we don't, it's so funny too, because that's part of the matrix in America, right? We were told that we have to eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and
Yeah,
dinner. And then we're told, and all this information, half the stuff that we've been told, it's just, it's capitalism. It's not really
yeah,
truth,
yeah,
because I had to start questioning that because when I go to Haiti, there's people that don't eat every day. They don't have the food to eat every day. They don't have
yeah,
water to drink every day. They do not have 8 glasses of water a day. They're glad and they're still
yeah,
living. And they're still living to old age. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Some. I mean,
yeah.
there's, but so how true is it that we need to eat 3 meals a day? How
I
true is
know.
it that we have to drink all this water a day?
Yeah,
It's just, but we believe it. So therefore, if we don't do it, and we have to take it serious, we have to understand what we've been conditioned to believe,
yeah,
because we're gonna have the consequences of not doing something that we're conditioned to believe, because we've been told we're dehydrated. Dehydration will make us sick or whatnot if we don't drink this water. If we don't have the experience of knowing that there is another way, that may
yeah,
not be true, that is not true everywhere, then we could end up with the effect of being sick because our body was and our mind believes that.
believes
So it's
that.
not
Yeah,
that we just sit here and say, you don't need to eat every day. You don't need to drink water. Whatever illness you have is not real. You can't just say that because your mind has to believe it. And that's where hypnotherapy helps too, if you really want to.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. And you really, and you have to believe it on I guess a subconscious level, right? It can't just be surface. You can't because your ego will get in the way of that.
Right.
You have to believe it on a subconscious level. The I guess there was an expression. I don't know if it comes out of New Thought, but change your mind, change your life.
hmm
Was that
that's very new thought. That is Ernest Holmes. That's the basis of Ernest Holmes. It seems so
okay?
simple, but then
It
when you
does. Hmm.
study it, you realize it's not just like, oh, look at this day differently, be happy, change your mind. It's literally understanding
Yeah.
the concept of we are all one, like The Power of One is a book that's out there that people can read. But we
Hmm.
are all one. Like source is one, and we're just part of creation, and we're all connected, and we're all made of the same thing. Science proves it. We're
Hmm.
just all made of the same, like it's weird to say, but this candle and it's made out of the same ingredients. Our bodies and the candle, it's just a matter of how it's put together.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
there's so much to, it's not just think it differently. There's a lot of reprogramming.
Honestly, that's exactly what it boils down to. You have to know this on a deep, deep level,
Hmm
right? So that it is a part of your subconscious mind. Because it seems to me, I mean, I'm coming to understand that subconscious mind is a very powerful tool. I guess I don't know how else to describe it. Um, that really can dictate the trajectory, well, at least how you navigate the world. I would think. Um, I guess I was so yeah. Ernest Holmes probably did come up with that. Change your mind, change your life. I guess I was thinking about was it Carnegie that said something about anyway, there's some expression related to Carnegie that somehow seems like the cousin of the New Thought, and it's not coming to me what that expression is. Um,
Well, what I learned recently though with New Thought was back then, 100 years ago, they were all learning from one another. There were a couple of
yeah,
leaders that first came on, and when they did their speeches or they wrote their papers, they didn't have to give each other credit. They just kind of wrote with. So
uh,
they could have all said it. And it does sound like, in one way, they all said it because that's really
yeah,
what it's all about. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's, I mean, I'm not too surprised to hear that because I think that is, the progression of anything new that comes to us, right? How it all kind of unfolds, that we kind of, it all kind of comes together, we're learning at the same time, probably at the same level, and then at some point, then people become um, come to a higher consciousness. But in the
Right.
beginning, we're all kind of at the same, plane on this. But we're still, I think, it's still unfolding. I think still this new thought, the I think Agape calls it new thought, ain't no ancient wisdom, new thought, ancient wisdom, something like that. Anyway, I think it's still unfolding. We're still learning and
Yeah, we're
seeing
still
what
relearning. I would put it that way because it is
relearning.
ancient wisdom. It's always wisdom. It's just it is
Yeah,
what it is, you know?
yeah, that's been around
And
forever. We're just
right,
discovering it. Yeah,
we're
yeah,
rediscovering it basically.
rediscovering it. Yeah.
Kind of on a loop. I feel like whenever time, this is just me thinking, but if you think about when New Thought came around, and I think it was during the Great Depression.
Mhm.
So when that became big, but then, you can go back further. There's Kabbalah, which is the same thing, and for the most part, like there's our differences in Kabbalah and Buddhism and all that kind of stuff, but it's so much similarity to it
Hmm.
because, well, because there's one mind. That's the mind of
Yeah,
God. Really, it's all about tapping into that. So, like you were just saying, a lot of people get at the same time. Yeah, because it's all those people that are going to tap into the mind of God is going to get the truth. And the truth is going to be the same everywhere it downloads. And then it downloads to us through our ego, and that's where we make our changes really. It's like
yeah,
how we receive it and how. So like Ernest Holmes says, don't, you stay open at the top, literally. You know what you
mhm,
know, you learn what you learn. You keep in mind that you have ego and also that you probably don't know everything and you have to be
yeah,
open to learning from others.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And in this year, I am open to learning from. I guess it's new thought, ageless wisdom, not ancient.
Oh, I
Ageless.
like
I
that.
was saying
Ageless
that.
wisdom. Yeah.
Ageless wisdom. It's kind of evolved to that. And so I am open to learning in this year more from um, Emma Curtis Hopkins and more from Ernest Holmes and Dr. Thurman is his name,
Hmm.
is the person that I've been studying, and I'm not trying to remember his first name. But anyway, it's Thurman. So I'm going to be doing a lot more reading of that. And you have some references, right? You've done some reading recently in your path towards becoming a spiritual practitioner, right? The classes that you've taken. Are there some books that you can share with us? You can talk about now, and I'll certainly add that to our description on this video for people to access later.
Sure. Yeah, I just finished a class called the Roots of Science of Mind, and that's where
Okay.
we read Thomas Crower. So these are the people that influenced Ernest Holmes, but definitely read Ernest Holmes.
Yeah.
Um, and then who we were just talking about because we just finished the section of our class on Emma Curtis Thompson,
Emma Curtis Hopkins. Yeah.
Hopkins.
Hmm.
I recently bought. She has Bible interpretations, and that's what I'm going to be reading coming soon
Oh, okay.
because I'd really like to see how because all of these New Thought people were Bible thumpers. Like it
Yeah.
came studying the words of Jesus, not Paul. Christianity in America right now is some people want to call it Pollyanity. Like it's not Christian, it's not Jesus, it's Paul. So these people start studying the word of Jesus to heal themselves, to start their religions. Uh,
Okay.
this guy is current. You can look him up on YouTube, Eckart, Tolle, Eckart Tolle. How do you say his name?
Oh, yes, yes. I
I'm
have one of
reading
his
his book
books.
right now, The Power of Now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'm at the part where he talks about how to reverse your aging. So I'm gonna
Oh, is that
work on
right?
that first thing this month. It's my goal. And it's all
I
mind.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I truly believe that you can
Yeah.
reverse, yeah, this
Yeah.
aging or at least delay it, you know?
Exactly. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, because why can't we? Like, it's just another part of the construct. I'm looking for another book. Because honestly, the essentials of Ernest Holmes. I mean, obviously, we're studying Ernest Holmes and these other books that I was just showing you, Emerson and Emerson also. Emerson, I love. Some people you hate him or you love him. He
Mm-hmm.
writes in such a poetic way that some people are like, "What is he saying?" And the funny
Oh,
thing is, all three of these, this is Emerson. All three of these guys influenced Ernest Holmes, and they're so different.
yeah.
They're so different the way they write, all saying the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, but they're all working it out, right? But
Mm-hmm.
um, but he, and this is what's important for all of us, is like you hear something, feel it in your body. Does it resonate with you? And
Yeah.
then look further into it. Because if we're making all this up anyway, it's kind of wild. I mean, it's a hard thing to weave through, but it's
Yeah.
also exciting just knowing taking the responsibility for your life as opposed to um
Absolutely.
Christianity where they're on the happen to me level, whereas like things happen to me. God
Yeah.
blesses me or the devil curses me. You get to the second level where it's um for me, which is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful like the universe works for me. Whatever I want, the universe will let it happen. And then you get
Mm-hmm.
to the next level of by me, where you're like, oh, I control this. And I think that's where, I'm
Mm-hmm.
weaving into, and that's, with
That's fantastic.
download. Definitely, that's where I'm weaving into it with my download. Like, wait a minute, I'm going to choose this
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
be my best me, and then through me. And that's when God works through you,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
can just be in your presence and be healed for something like Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that ti last time about the different sort of stages of your spiritual development, right? And what to
Right.
look for in a spiritual practitioner or advisor. Where are they in that? Which is what led us to this conversation about how are we developing?
Right.
Because one of the questions that we want to ask when we're looking for a spiritual advisor is, how do you continue to grow spiritually? What is it you do, right? That kind of
Right.
gives you an idea of where they are. And then I thought, well, let's, ask ourselves, like, what are we aspiring to in this new year that's upon us? And yeah, I definitely want to, I think I'm in between the stage two, what, to me and for me. I'm in between those two stages, I think, and would obviously want to get to that for me stage and then be able to aspire to the by me, of course, leading to through me stage. But yeah, this is fascinating. Um, so I- I'm curious for those who are watching and listening and hearing us. We want to hear from you about where you are in your spiritual development and what is it you aspire to in 2026. And you can certainly leave that in the comment section below this video. But I would be curious to see what your responses would be to what you've heard us say today. And then just thinking about going into this new year, had you given some thought as to how you wanted to grow spiritually and what would that look like for you? Yeah, so share that with us. Wouldn't it be interesting to hear? Uh, where people are. And the other thing is, the holiday time was a little strange for me because I'm really into holidays and have been for a long time. But this year, I kind of wasn't feeling it. I didn't do a whole lot of decorating. I mean, I did send out like electronic holiday cards, but I really wasn't feeling it. But for some reason, I am much more into this idea of 2026 being a hopeful year, a year in which um, I guess, we're coming into this new earth, right? Situation that we keep referencing. We've referenced in past recordings, but I somehow feeling very hopeful about this new earth that's that we're coming into because I think there are a lot more of us, those of us on this spiritual journey, which for me is those of us who are have a connection and understand our connection to the divine presence, and is surrendering to that divine presence in how we're navigating our life challenges. I think there are more of us who are in that and who are trying to grow in that than there are those who are in the shadowy side. We used to call it the darkness.
We'll just
Which,
say shadow, or I would say now ego consciousness.
yeah,
And New Earth is, so you're correct on that there's more of us, and that's the whole reason why New Earth is happening. It's
yeah,
really a higher consciousness. There's more of us growing into a higher consciousness. So that is raising the consciousness of Earth, and that is what's changing the world drastically. Because yes, 10 years ago we couldn't have this conversation. I don't know. The majority of my shows I watch on YouTube all day long is higher conscious spiritual stuff. And um,
yeah,
yeah, and I don't, I mean, it's my algorithm, I guess I got into. So I thought
yeah.
everyone was doing it. YouTube sent a video like, here's your year in YouTube. And it said you're in the, I think it was like 3% algorithm. So so here I'm thinking like, oh, everyone's getting this information. No, I mean, it's still 3% of people on YouTube is getting all the spiritual stuff, but that's a huge amount of people, enough to like
Hmm.
raise business. And it's just going and it's spreading. I know multiple people that out of the blue have called me and we've had spiritual conversations, like a lot lately, a lot.
That have
So
called you out of the blue.
yeah, where they're just from my
Oh,
Christian background. Um, that are awakening or looking at things
yeah.
differently now. And that's all it is. It's waking up to being like, oh, some of these things I'm learning or know are not true. And that's the first step.
Yes, exactly.
Start the
Acknowledging
first
that.
step and start questioning. And then all of a sudden go through rabbit holes. Like my rabbit hole today is like, oh, we are in a matrix. We're making all this up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, see, so I guess I'm feeling that. That's what's out into the universe.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that, which is why I am so hopeful about 2026. I think we're going to do major changes that everybody is going to see in 2026 because there's like more of us out here expressing ourselves in this way.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
really encouraging.
Yeah.
Um, oh my goodness. And that was the whole reason we wanted to do this show, right?
That's
Was
how it
to-
started. Yeah.
yeah, that's what it started to try to elevate those of us who are on this path, so that we can talk to each other and share each other. I think I need to reach out. I'm going to talk to you after we stop recording about how we reach out to these people so that we, expand that tent. It's there already, I know, but I mean, I want us to communicate more with each other, and probably in that way expand our tent. That's great to know that people are reaching out to you and having these conversations that are coming from that, that religious sort of dogma,
Right.
kind of mentality. They're awakening to another way of, another perception.
Yeah. So we called it, when my girlfriend called it, um, going from a closed loop belief system to open loop. Because
Ah,
closed loop, and I think she made this up, but I'm not sure. But closed loop is when you're in that dogmatic belief
dogmatic. Yeah.
close it off. You don't want to know anything else. And there's plenty of
Hmm.
people I know, plenty of people like that. You try to tell them something, and they're like, I was told that's evil, or I was told this, or they just,
Hmm.
you could put it in front of their face and they don't want to see it. That's closed loop.
Mm,
Open loop are the people that are like opening up, expansion, expanding their mind, their belief system, and just open to hearing something new
hmm, hmm.
without the fear. It's only fear that people refuse
Exactly.
to hear something because they have this, fear that was created in them.
Hmm, hmm. Well, I mean, I love that that there are people who are opening up to this open loop, yeah, and are willing to hear. So where do you stand, those of you who are watching this? Where do you stand on this?
Mhm.
And what are your aspirations for 2026? Leave that in the comment section below this video, and Um, we want to see that and share that with others out there so that this concentric circle, if you want to look at it in that way, this rippling out can grow. And of course, I always invite you to subscribe to us. And uh, when you do that, you will be notified whenever any new videos are posted. It's they call it a subscription, but it's free. All you have to do is just say that you want to subscribe so that you can get notices whenever new videos drop. What a stimulating conversation. Thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome and Happy New Year again.
Yes. So, on behalf of Tiffany Lee, I'm Gwendolyn Flynn. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time.